Good morning. I'm Jay Johnson, Secretary of Homeland Security. I'm sure everyone here knows who the gentlemen to my right and left are. At the 9/11 ceremony last week, the four of us decided that we would get together to talk about Homeland Security here in the New York, New Jersey region. And so we just had a very productive hour or so with among ourselves, with law enforcement, Homeland Security officials in New York and New Jersey and in New York City. We face an evolving potential terrorist threat to the homeland and to the region. As I see it, Homeland Security increasingly depends upon cooperation between federal, state, and local law enforcement, first responders, Homeland Security officials. And so partnerships like those you see reflected here today are increasingly important as we go forward. And that's what brought us here together with our law enforcement and Homeland Security officials. And that's why we're here. We're going to continue this dialogue. I think it is fair to say that the four of us have a very good working as well as a very good personal relationship to provide an example for those who work for us. And we're going to continue this dialogue. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Governor Cuomo.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank Secretary Johnson for his help, his partnership. The federal government and the resources of the federal government have been an extraordinary help to our region, and we all want to thank them. Also to my colleagues, Governor Christie, I want to thank him for his partnership, friendship, and cooperation, and certainly Mayor Bill de Blasio, for all the work that he's done and that we've been able to do together. As elected officials, public safety is paramount. And as we are all aware, there are obviously heightened tensions with terrorist groups and the terrorist network internationally. The terrorist network itself is larger and more complex and more sophisticated than it's ever been. It's no longer just Al-Qaeda, it's Hamas, it's Hezbollah, it's ISIL, it's Al-Shabaab, and it is a threat not just in the Middle East, but to Europe and to America. I was in Israel a few weeks ago and talking to them about their situation, and the one point they made over and over again, they said Americans make a mistake if they think this is a Middle East crisis. This is an international crisis. And the Israeli intelligence officials said, you will see this spread, you will see it go to Europe, and then you will see it go to the United States of America, and I believe that is true. When it comes to terrorism, we have suffered much, and we have learned much. We suffered and learned from the '93 World Trade Center attacks. We suffered and learned from 9/11, obviously. And we would be in a state of denial if we did not say, with what's going on internationally, that the risk of a threat to us has increased. Well, we're not in a state of denial. We're in the state of New York, and the state of New York is the state of New York because it's always been proactive. And that's what we've been talking about today. And the meeting we just had was very, very helpful, bringing together all partners to share information. The state of New York and the state of New Jersey are taking this responsibility very seriously. We will be working in a coordinative fashion and bringing together the respective officials in Homeland Security and security and in police public safety. We believe there is a need for action and immediacy, and we will have the first report done in 10 days, an interim report that we can review. and that will then be on an ongoing basis. So we are doing everything we can to make sure all resources are coordinated and everyone is on the same page. As we discussed upstairs, we have tremendous resources in the New York, New Jersey area. It is also a very complicated part of the country, and we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to facilitate that cooperation. To the extent we have to increase resources, we will. To the extent we have to increase personnel, we will. We want the people of New York and New Jersey to rest assured that everything is being done to make sure that their public safety is job one. And everyone should have confidence in the systems and the expertise that has been put together over these years and is keeping them safe every day. Again, thank you to Secretary Johnson for his leadership, to my colleagues, Governor Christie and Mayor de Blasio. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you also to Secretary Johnson for his efforts and for the work that he does and the people that he leads every day does on behalf of our region and our country. Let's say this to add to what Governor Cuomo said. We've had the opportunity to talk a number of times over the last few days about the seriousness and the intensity of the threat that now faces us, especially in light of the path that the President has enunciated in his speech to the nation last week. And our job, the job of myself and Governor Cuomo, as we see it, is to lead and make sure that the appropriate amount of intensity is protecting our region. And that's why we've issued the directive we have to our state police and to our Homeland Security advisors to do an initial review and then a complete review of the way we're protecting our assets and our people in this region. Those reviews will come back to myself and to the governor, and we will take, as he mentioned, whatever steps are appropriate and necessary, recommended by law enforcement, and in our judgment necessary for the protection of our people in our region to make sure that we are responding appropriately to the current threat. And so I thank the governor for, like this and many other issues, our partnership over the last number of years in making sure that we're doing our jobs for the people of this very interconnected region in a way that's going to keep us safe. I spent 7 years as a U.S. attorney in the immediate aftermath of September 11th. I'm acutely aware of what's been done during those 7 years and what has continued to be done since I left that position. But we need to make sure that we are ahead of the curve on this and not in a responsive mode, but as Governor Cuomo put, in a proactive mode to make sure we're doing everything that needs to be done to protect the people of our region. So thank the Secretary again. I thank Governor Cuomo for his partnership and friendship, and I'm pleased to bring Mayor de Blasio to the podium as well for remarks. Mayor?
Thank you very much. Well, as New Yorkers, we know our city is the #1 terror target in this country. We know the metropolitan region equally is a target, a priority target, sadly, but that does not change our resolve. We are undaunted in the work we do every day, the work we do together to ward off these threats, to always be vigilant, to always apply the resources we need. I think it is a blessing for New York City and for the whole metropolitan region that we have a Homeland Security Secretary who is one of us. Secretary Johnson fully understands this region, lives in New Jersey, has worked in New York, understands it fundamentally, and for us, I think all of us, that creates a different and deeper kind of partnership as we do our work every day. I want to commend Governor Cuomo and Governor Christie. They have established the kind of partnership that we don't see enough of in government. It played out very powerfully during an event that you don't think about much now because it went well by every measure of security and preparation. It went so well, which was the Super Bowl, the biggest, most important event in the entertainment world each year, anywhere in the world. These two states worked together. We were honored in New York City to be a part of it. The security preparations, we can all acknowledge, were extraordinary, intricate, elaborate, and the security dynamics came off without a hitch. That's what's possible here in this region. I also want to commend the members of my team who are here today and are so crucial protecting our city, our police commissioner, Bill Bratton, our fire commissioner, Dan Nigro, our emergency management commissioner, Joe Esposito. They are working seamlessly together as well. So I think the point is we understand the kind of target we are, we understand the moment in global history, we understand the need for vigilance. How we address that is with extraordinary collaboration and teamwork and with the kind of support at the federal government that is exemplary for the times we're living in. Thank you.
We got time for a couple of questions on topic. Yes, sir.
Governor Cuomo has mentioned it appears that we are at greater risk. Is there a greater concern that we should be aware of in the New Jersey and New York area?
The way I would say it is this. We face an evolving potential threat from 2001. 2001, it was core al-Qaeda. Today, the threat comes from a number of sources. The terrorist threat is more decentralized. In many ways, it is more complex. There are al-Qaeda affiliates who have in the recent past, made attempts to attack the homeland. We have no reason to believe that they have discontinued those efforts. And we face a complex situation. ISIL is the organization that everyone is focused on right now because of their very public brutality and disregard for human life and because of the acquisition of territory in Iraq and Syria. But as I've counseled and as I've said here today, we need to keep our eye on a range of threats. And as I see it, those threats include the potential for domestic-based attacks of the type we saw at the Boston Marathon last year. And so the importance of state and local law enforcement, public safety, first responders, is all the more critical given how we see the terrorist threat evolving. And so that's why I've had a number of sessions around the country with mayors, police commissioners, state law enforcement officials of this type, and I will continue to do so.
Governor Christie, if I could, you recently said that Mitt Romney might be a better president. I'm curious if that applies to Minnie's policy. What do you think, with respect to the president, he should do differently to reduce the threat here?
I don't think that that's quite frankly, Zach. I'm not the least bit surprised by your off-topic question, and you will not be the least bit surprised by the fact that there is no chance, zero chance, that I'm answering your off-topic question.
Governor Christie, could you
Take another shot? Go ahead.
cooperative agreement mean for the people of New Jersey? Sort of flush it out for me, explain,
Well, hey, listen, what it means is that the governor and I have tasked the heads of our state police and our Homeland Security directors to do a complete review of how we're conducting ourselves in terms of the protection of our assets in the state and our people. And they'll come back with an initial report of their review in 10 days, and then if there are actions for us to take, then or in the future when we get a more fulsome report, we'll do so. And so what it means for the people of New Jersey, and I believe for New York as well, is that the governor and I are leading and trying to make sure that all of the folks who are involved in our two states with those areas of protection are understanding and adjusting to the new evolving threat that the Secretary outlined in his answer to the question. And so that's what we're on.
Marcia Kramer. Marcia, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question. You said something about the Attorney General. Yes, absolutely. Within the Department of Homeland Security, we also have outreach programs for outreach to community organizations that themselves have the ability to reach individuals here in the homeland who may be tempted to turn toward violence. As I mentioned a moment ago, we're increasingly concerned about domestic-based potential acts of terrorism, particularly as the groups overseas become more sophisticated in their own propaganda, in their own outreach. And so I personally have decided to participate in our outreach programs within DHS. I think the Attorney General is exactly right about the need to have outreach to community leaders, religious leaders, and that's becoming an increasingly important part of our Homeland Security mission. And so, for example, earlier this year I was in a Chicago suburb where I met with a Syrian American community-based group. I'm going out to Ohio to meet with another group next week, and we're going to be doing a lot of this because it's critical.
Sir, is there any way to,
Yes.
in terms of this homegrown sort of domestic, is there any way to measure it? Are we seeing any kind of increase? Is there any increase in chatter? Is there any increase in sort of?
Well, through our law enforcement investigations and through our general outreach in the community, we gauge our efforts, we gauge what we think we see happening in the community, and the key really is to build relationships. And this is not just true of the U.S. government. This is true of the public safety organizations, the governments represented here. We want to build these relationships in all respects. So when I meet with community organizations, we want to talk about a variety of subjects. We want to just not talk about counterterrorism. We want to talk about profiling, which is an issue that a lot of community organizations on behalf of their communities talk to us about in various components of Homeland Security. And so through that general effort of relationship building, we develop, I think, a good sense of the risk that we face from within these communities. And we've got to keep doing that. We've got to continue to build those relationships. And I encourage not just the federal government, myself, the Attorney General, but the governors, the mayors in large communities where we need to build these relationships. Okay.
Just to follow up on that, in the last year in New York City, New Yorkers saw a change from Ray Kelly to Bill Bratton in terms of a shift away from certain types of surveillance operations, particularly at the NYPD. Do you have any sense about how that change has affected the risk and the ability to respond to this kind of what you're talking about today?
I have a lot of confidence in Mayor de Blasio, and I have a lot of confidence in Commissioner Bratton. He and I have talked counterterrorism quite a bit, and I'm confident that the City of New York, the mayor, the police commissioner know how to do this.
We've got time for just one more question.
Reverend Christie, do you believe that the murder of Franklin Teflon was an act of terrorism here on U.S. soil?
Again, today is to discuss issues surrounding our meeting and what we did, and I'm just not going to deal with off-topic questions today, but thanks for the question.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.